Sunday afternoon, we are going to crown the World Cup champions. The narrative is Messi versus Mbappe. Paul Robinson alongside me, but it's more than a narrative and just that, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's two teams that I think deservedly should be in the final. You look at Argentina over the last 3 years. You look at their record coming into this tournament. They've had one bump in the road against Saudi Arabia, which is what you can put it down to. I think we're at 42 games now, and they've only had one defeat. So they find a way. They know how to win. This French team, the current world champions, at times in this tournament against England, I'd say they were second best in the second half. Morocco, probably the same at times in that game. But they've got quality players. Griezmann, for me, has been the player of the tournament, along with Messi, stood out. But I think he's found holes, he's found pockets. And both of these two teams have got a lot of quality in the final third. Defensively, there's ways that they can get at each other, but I think it'll be a really cagey affair.
A lot of people have called this a World Cup of upsets. I mean, we mentioned Saudi Arabia beating Argentina in their first game, Germany, Japan, Morocco doing so well. They were 200-1. But at the end of the day, the final is the second favourite versus the third favourite. France were the second favourites going into the tournament, and Argentina were the third favourites.
And Belgium in that as well. You put Belgium into that mix. The teams that fell out, for me, Belgium was the biggest disappointment of the whole tournament. Argentina and France, rightly so, people's favourites. Belgium have been number 1 and number 2 in the world for the last 4 years. They were really, really poor. Germany fell out of it. But like you say, number 2, number 3, Brazil fell away again at the end. Offensively, excellent, just couldn't get over the line. But these two teams, I think they combined their defensive strengths with the attacking ability. Argentina have only got one way to play. They'll play 4-3-3. De Paul will sit in there, he'll do all of Messi's work. Messi is allowed to do what he does because of De Paul. France have got the pace on the wings, Dembele and Mbappe. It's going to be a very interesting matchup.
It's the fourth meeting at the World Cup. 2018, they met in the last 16. That was a cracker. 4-3 France. Griezmann with a penalty opened the scoring. Mbappe got a couple that day as well. They met in 1978 in the group stage. That was 2-1 Argentina. Platini scored for France that day. And you won't remember this one. 1930, Argentina 1, France 0. That was in the group stage. Argentina lost to Uruguay in the final 4-2. Look, if you're a football... All right, we're disappointed about England, which we'll talk about later. If you're a football fan now, Argentina versus France is just a cracker, isn't it?
And then you narrow it down, Mbappe versus Messi.
Yeah.
You know, two of the best players in the world
but
for a long time,
is it?
Currently. But it's not. There's so much quality here.
That's what we thought in England game. And then Griezmann was just different class. And Griezmann was class against Morocco as well.
The last two games, the Morocco game, for the French, the last two games, the Morocco game and the England game, both teams have done a job on Mbappe. He's had to move inside, he's moved, he's been quiet. But like you say, for me, so we said this before in the studio, Giroud pushes against the centre-halves, occupies the centre-halves. The two wingers, Mbappe and Dembele, leaves all that space for Griezmann. But he's not just played in that number 10 role. He's played as a number 8. He's been destructive. He's won tackles. And this tournament, I've seen a different side to him. He's become a leader. You see him organising on the pitch and you see him communicating to the players. And for me, he's stood up and been one of the best players in the tournament without a shadow of a doubt.
Let's talk Argentina first of all in our final preview. So as Paul mentioned, a loss to Saudi Arabia. Then it was half an hour against Mexico when they were really up against it as well, and then Messi got that goal. They've been playing knockout football, haven't they, since that game against Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, I mean, you look at that game against Saudi Arabia as an isolated incident. Let's be honest, at half-time, they should have been 3 or 4 up. They had a couple of goals ruled out with VAR. The first half of that game, they dominated it. But you've got to give Saudi Arabia credit for the way that they held on and the way they got that result. But other than that, for the last 3 years, Argentina have been almost impeccable. You look at their record on their own continent, the trophies that they've won. They've got big game players. They've got big name players and big game players. The one player for me this tournament is Alvarez. He wasn't a regular starter. He came into this tournament. Martinez of Inter Milan was going to start as a number 9. Alvarez at Manchester City, who we know is a bit part player at City due to Haaland, come into this tournament, and for me, he's been
3 Premier League goals, yes.
3 Premier League goals. They signed him last season in January, sent him back on loan. Didn't really integrate him into the squad until this season, but he's certainly going back to Manchester City a different player than when he left.
And do you know how much they paid for Alvarez?
Go on, I'm sure you're going to tell me.
14 million.
And in today's day and age...
That is a snip.
Well, you look at players' values in the World Cup. I'm sceptical of signing players after a World Cup just based on one World Cup. Cody Gakpo is a perfect example of it. His value before the World Cup was Leeds United's shopping window. His value after the World Cup is now Champions League bracket. If City were to buy Alvarez before the World Cup, his bracket now would be very, very different.
Obviously, Messi is going to get the headlines. Numerous La Ligas, Champions League, won the Copa America last year, won Olympic gold in 2008 with Argentina. I mean, if he could seal his career, well, he's not going to be retiring, but we might not see him another World Cup. But what would Messi win in a World Cup? Does that make him more of a complete player?
I can't think it makes him more the complete player, but I think it fills the set, doesn't it? You look, what else can he do? What else can he win? And the big comparison in Argentina is between him and Maradona. Maradona's got the World Cup, Messi hasn't. You know, the Copa America is a huge thing in South America, and for them to win that is almost an equivalent to win the World Cup, but it's not the World Cup. For him, that boy's got a gift. The gift that he's been given and what he's given to football is incredible. You look at Ronaldo, he's worked extremely hard and put himself onto the level that he is. He's obviously got natural talent, but what Messi's done and the way he's adapted his game, I mean, I think we looked at it earlier, the stats. The last two games, I think it took him 14 minutes and 18 minutes before he even touched the ball. He walks through games, he comes in and out of games, but what he gives you at those moments is incredible, which is why if he wins the World Cup, I think he potentially might go retirement from international football. But then you look at the way he's played in this World Cup, he could potentially still do it again if he adapts his game the same way. He's that special. I mean, the talent and what we've been fortunate to witness has been incredible.
That goal, Guardiola didn't do much wrong, did he? He didn't dive him. He tried to channel him. He did everything right in many respects.
I think he's still trying to untie his legs, isn't he?
And then to come back and then, I mean, that assist by Messi was just class, wasn't it?
Big game, big moments. And again, the game you touched on about the Mexico game, poor Mexico were destructive, broke the game down, really poor game, moment of magic. That goal there you're talking about against Croatia, absolute magician. There's not many people, if any, on the world that could do that. If you can do it, but then do it on the stage that he's doing it, do it in the arenas that he's doing it, and carry the country and the players around him. Because you look at this Argentinian side now, you would say in the past it's maybe been all about Messi. Now it's still all about him, but he's got a little bit of a supporting cast with him now.
I've been lucky enough to see him play live a couple of times as well. What's always amazed me is obviously wonderful, amazing feat, his skill, but he's a grafter as well, isn't he? Well, and he works in an Argentinian side as well, though, doesn't he?
I think he was. I think he maybe...
No, but he still works now.
Tailed off a little bit.
Certainly works more than Ronaldo.
What he does is he works cleverly, put it that way. He's now of a stage in his career where he knows he's not going to press from the front from minute one, but he'll put himself in positions. You watch him as like the old player can, what Sky used to do. You watch him off the ball, he won't be running around, he won't be closing down 10-yard sprints, but he'll put himself in a position. He reads the game. His reading of the game is like no other, whether it's with the ball at his feet or without the ball. He puts himself in positions to affect the game, and he uses his energy and his fitness in the areas where it'll win games.
And what are they like at the back, do you think?
Susceptible. I think Otamendi, there's a mistake in him. Yep. He's not the same player as he was at Manchester City.
And Martinez comes on, doesn't he?
Martinez comes on sometimes, and Romero's been the one that's played. I mean, Romero's obviously not played a full season at Tottenham. Sometimes he's played three at the back in this tournament as well. He's reverted to three with a Martinez at times. Tagliafico's played left back. Acuna's played left back. Acuna's been outstanding.
Acuna's back. He was suspended for last game,
excuse me, I think he'll come back into the team. Yep. That's probably his biggest decision, whether he plays Tagliafico or Acuna. But they've played with a back four, a back three, they've mixed it up. You would say they're susceptible, but what's defended them is Rodrigo de Paul. He has been excellent.
Class.
The work that Messi doesn't do, he does. The ground that he covers, you look at his stats for the yardage that he's covered in this World Cup, he's incredible. And McAllister around him, and Fernandes as well, who's come into that midfield, who's heavily linked with the move to England. The structure that Messi has got around him now, from the defence forward, is very strong. Defensively, yes, there's still cracks and there's still weaknesses, but I could make the same argument for the French team as well.
I like what you've done, by the way. Paul did this off his own back and he WhatsApped me this. He was obviously bored yesterday. He's put the best Argentinian and French players together from this World Cup. Let's have a look. You've gone for Martinez in goal. I tell you what, bit surprised with your Spurs connections.
Yeah, I just think he's had... Listen, I don't think either of them had a standout tournament. I don't think there's been one particular goalkeeper, apart from maybe Livakovic for Croatia, that's really stood out. I think Martinez did well in the shootouts. The French haven't been to a shootout yet. They've won the last 16 quarterfinals and semi-finals all within 90 minutes. Romero, Varane, arguably, probably would have been the third of three French centre-halves, but he's been the glue that holds them together. Koundé as a centre-half playing right-back, I think he's done exceptionally well. Hernandez is the big surprise I think that people will be surprised at, because I think his defensive capabilities have been questioned, but his defensive capabilities have been questioned because he's had no protection. Mbappe plays in front of him. Mbappe doesn't track back. Quite often, Hernandez is left one-on-one, 2v1, and I think going forward, he's got his goal in the last game, and I think he gives them something else. De Paul, there's no argument.
Brilliant, yeah.
I think McAllister as well has played himself into this Argentinian team. Mbappe, and there
Just
you go.
scrapes in Mbappe, doesn't
Look
he?
at that front line. Mbappe, Griezmann, Messi,
Well,
and Alvarez.
and Giroud is not far behind this tournament, is he? And
No.
Me and you were sat here this time last week saying, well, yeah, you want to play against a 36-year-old. Well, Giroud's been class, hasn't he?
He's been excellent, the way he's occupied the defenders. And somebody like Benzema not being in the French team, what do you think? It was a huge miss. Giroud has done a job. And what he's done is he's allowed the others in behind him to be destructive, but at the same time, he's got his goals as well. I mean, he's only, what is he? I think he's one off the golden boot, isn't he, going into the final?
Yeah. Yeah, it's Mbappe and Messi on 5, Alvarez and Giroud on 4. Right then, let's talk about the French team. Look, I still think this. I don't think they're the best defending set pieces.
No, they are susceptible, because Hugo Lloris doesn't like coming off his line. We've seen that in the Premier League. Susceptible at crosses.
But saying that, they're in the finals.
They've found a way. They've dominated big moments. Like I said to you, in the England game, I think England were the better team second half.
But they won the big moments.
But they won the big moments. The Moroccan game, they won the big moments. When they went 1-0 up against Morocco, I thought, that's it, floodgates got open. And it didn't. But they've got a team of experience. They've got a manager who's won it as a player and a manager already. You've got Mbappe at his age who's already won it. There's a team of players here who have already done this. They're the current World Cup holders.
Mbappe is only 23, and come Sunday afternoon, he might have won 2 World Cups.
Yeah, I think he might have a future in this game, don't you? He could be a decent player. When he matures, he could be a decent player.
How good is he then?
Oh, he's up there with the world's best, without a shadow of a doubt. The thing for me, Mbappe's done everything. You look at what he's won, his domestic honours. Internationally, he's already won the World Cup. Messi hasn't. If he wins a double World Cup, it's where does he go next? The only challenge for me that Mbappe's got left in his career is how does he develop his game for longevity? You look what Messi's done at his age. He's changed his game a little bit. He comes in and out the game every now and then. Mbappe, a lot of his game is frightening pace. That's not going to stay with him forever. His huge challenge is to how does he adapt his game, where does he play as he gets older? Yeah. But for me, he's one of the world's best, without a doubt.
Can he do it in a cold night in Stoke? Right, come on.
I don't think he'll ever get the opportunity to prove us right or wrong.
Come on then. Give us your prediction. I mean, this could go all the way, couldn't it?
I think it'll be cagey. I think that your bet is, I honestly think it's under 2 goals. I think it's going to be a very cagey affair. Without a doubt, Sean, one of the guys here in the office, gave us some stats before, which was a brilliant stat. I loved it. Only France have conceded 1 goal in the first half of a game. They've been at neither of them conceded.
And what was
in the
that,
first
Australia?
Half. Australia. So you look at the game now, and you think draw half time, potential draw full time, definitely longevity in this game. Somebody to win it in extra time, potential penalties. I think honestly the value bet is a bet builder. Draw half time, a second half or extra time winner with a sub coming off the bench to score a goal, because you're valuing your goal scorers. Look at the value in substitutes, because this is going to be tight. Back a substitute to score any time or first scorer, and you'll have some real good value.
Right. So you're not giving us a winner then?
France.
You are going France. And they'll be the first team to retain the World Cup since Brazil in '62.
I think they've just got that little bit more defensively. I think they've found a way. But there's 2 teams that have found a way. But for some reason, I fancy the French. For nostalgia, for football, I want Argentina to win. I think the French have got a little bit more. I think it will go extra time, potentially penalties. I think France will just edge it. But the bet is draw half time, pick a goal scorer, and mine would be the French to go through.
Well, for my wallet, I want Argentina to win. I backed them pre-tournament. I've won it in '78, of course. I can remember '78. Paul won't be able to remember '78. I won it in '86. I wasn't happy in '86, though, after that quarter-final against England. Right, let's talk about this 3rd and 4th playoff then. Look, the game, no one wants to play him. Now, these 2 actually met on the 23rd of November in the opening game of Group F, and it was 0-0. And I don't think I was sat there watching thinking, oh, I might be seeing these 2 in the 3rd and 4th playoff. Certainly not Morocco. Morocco were 200-1 going into the World Cup. Croatia were 50-1. Croatia get to another 3rd and 4th playoff. They had a 3rd and 4th playoff in 1998. Right then, in 19 previous third place playoff games at World Cup, only one has finished in a draw. No one wants extra time. They all want to get home. Right. How do you see
really
this?
Selling this.
No, I tell you what, there might be a betting angle here.
Oh, there's definitely an angle.
There's going to be loads of changes.
Yeah.
Because players who have not played will get a go, and Morocco have obviously got a few injuries as well. There'll be still a lot of Morocco fans there. Does this mean more to Morocco?
Absolutely, 1,000,000% it does. But you look at what it's there for. It's there for world ranking and for where you finish in the World Cup. There's medals available here for what it looks like a nothing game. I mean, people won't know when the game is, what time it kicks off, because
3 o'clock.
There's a lack of interest in Saturday 3 o'clock. We know that, but there's not many people that would look specifically to watch this game. Teams will make changes. You will now have club managers. But Modric's manager, Brozovic's manager, Kovacic's manager, getting onto the international managers. If my player gets injured here, I don't want him playing. There's going to be a number of changes. I think they're both wounded animals from the run that they've been on. They're out of the tournament for a reason, because they've reached their finishing point, if you like. You look at the Moroccan team, the injuries that they've got, the ailments that they've got, they struggle to the line. They look like a wounded group. And I think Croatia the same with the age of it. And it's a game where...
Again, Morocco are unlucky in the end, weren't they?
Morocco are unlucky, but it does mean more to Morocco. Yes, it does. The only African team to get that far, it's huge for them. If they can finish third behind Argentina and France, what an achievement.
I'll tell you what you've done. You've put the two teams together like you did with France-Argentina. So let's have a look at the combined Morocco and Croatia side. I've loved watching Morocco. I disagree with you about the goalkeeper, by the way. I know he's had 2 penalty shootouts, Japan and Brazil, but I disagree with you. I think Bono has been superb for Morocco.
I think he's been superb as well, and obviously you're a lot more qualified than me to talk about goalkeepers at the World Cup. But no, I put him in there.
You should have seen me in the under-11 school final. I threw 2 in, Paul.
And it's, tell you, goalkeeping. I'm
still bitter about it.
And you've still not forgotten it. Can you imagine what it does when you've had a career and you look back?
People still mention it to me now, and it was 41 years ago.
Anyway, Livakovic, for me, had 2 huge penalty shootout wins. And I think the mentality that he showed in that, plays at Shakhtar, I think he plays his football. This is a huge stage for him. He's never had to perform on this stage when he did. Guardiola has been excellent. 20-year-old Croatian centre-half has really come into his own this tournament. Saiss at the back. Morocco's strength has been their defending ability. Hakimi, we knew, was a quality player. Amrabat was their unsung hero. He protected the whole of the defence. And then you go forward, Modric, Kovacic, I couldn't make an argument to leave them out. Ziyech and El Nesri. Perisic for Croatia plays a lot higher up the pitch. He's performed arguably better than he does for Spurs.
Do you know, Conte has got a couple of things to think about. Perisic and Richarlison, hasn't he?
Without a doubt.
Both playing further up the pitch.
Yeah, but as in Perisic now, if you look at that position where he is there in the graphic, you're now talking into the lines of, is it Son, Richarlison, Kulusevski? He's moving into that type of area, whereas Conte is deploying him as a left wing back. But I think he's more effective up the pitch. El Nesri, the attacker for Morocco, he's been their real goal threat, very good in the air. I just think that, I mean, I could have filled that team up full of Moroccans, but there is just a bit of quality.
I have loved watching Morocco this tournament. 200 to 1 going into this tournament as well. Absolutely loved watching them. It was a game too far. I thought we were unlucky at times against France. Certainly if they'd have scored that one late on with about 5 minutes left, and they'd put the French under real pressure, wouldn't they, at 2-1. But the first African team to reach the semi-finals. Right, let's talk about the tournament as a whole. You've done your team of a tournament. Let's have a look at Paul Robinson's team of the tournament. Right, well, I'm not going to criticise your goalkeeping selection, seeing you did used to play for England. The Croatian centre-back, Guardiola, I think he has been very good. And I think we'll probably see him in the Premier League quite soon.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think there was probably clubs that were watching him, and this has just enhanced his reputation. Saiss has been a man-mountain at the back for Morocco. Talked then about Hakimi and Amrabat.
Oh, brilliant.
Acuna for Argentina. He's not played. He's dovetailed with Tagliafico. When he has played, I think he's been excellent. For me, the standout player in England point of view is Jude Bellingham. We've waxed lyrical about him in the studio for a few weeks now. We say, look, what else can you say about this kid? He's 19. He's captained a Champions League team. He's almost been a captain on and off the field for England when you look at his attitude. He's really come to the fore in this tournament. And I think there was no doubt he was coming to the Premier League anyway. But now I think he will be, but just with a lot bigger price tag on his back. Gakpo, another standout performance. Leeds were looking at him, and now that's Champions League material. Mbappe, Griezmann and Messi obviously picked themselves. I mean, we had a discussion in the office. There's obviously players that have done extremely well in this tournament and others that you could put in. But for me, that's a group of players that have really, really stood out.
Griezmann has been outstanding.
I think everyone's talked about Messi. Everyone's talked about Dembele, the pace. Will they miss Benzema, Giroud? But Griezmann, like I said to you, bit part player this year. He's been used as an impact sub at his club.
He was brilliant against England.
He's doing everything. He's not just going forward. He's playing like a number 8 and a number 10. He's destroying, he's making tackles. And like I said, his leadership qualities have come to the fore.
Jude Bellingham's made your team. Superb, I think, the whole tournament as well. And did you notice he was the first player to console Harry Kane?
Yeah, leadership qualities.
Future England captain.
Obviously, they know him very well at his club. And when there was an opportunity, I think he's third in line for the captaincy at his club, captained his team in the Champions League, and you can see why. And at 19, he looks to have a very, very level head on his shoulders. Nothing phases him, and his ability is there. I think he played a little bit deep early on in the tournament, but when the shackles were off and Henderson came into the team, you saw his attacking prowess as well. You saw what he gave to the team going forwards. And that boy, I've no doubt, will be a future England captain, without a shadow of a doubt.
Let's talk England then. 1990, I was just gutted. Obviously, the penalties. 98, I think we were conned against Argentina, was sending off for Beckham, and then Sol Campbell having that goal disallowed. 2006, Rooney getting sent off. You took him to the penalties. I was gutted then. 2010, we went out early, didn't we? Knockout against Germany. 2014, we didn't even get out of the group. 2018, we were cruising in that semi-final against Croatia. I was absolutely gutted. I wasn't so gutted this time. I don't know if that's because the dance is about to start, but...
Christmas is coming, the dance is starting.
But I don't know, I think if it had gone out against Senegal, I would have been gutted.
Yeah.
But I wasn't so gutted after we went out against France. I mean, obviously, look at the moments, like you said, the penalty, the second penalty. And I've seen loads of after-timing on social media. Why did Kane take the second penalty? I tell you what, if Luke Shaw, say, had been picking up the ball to take the second penalty, everyone had been shouting, why is Kane not taking it? Why is Kane not?
If anybody would pick the ball up instead of Kane, I mean, hindsight's great, isn't it? You know, everyone's the best footballer or the best pundit in the world with hindsight. There's no reason Harry Kane shouldn't have taken that penalty. His execution was the only thing that let him down. And that's what you say, fine margins. That's all that's cost us this tournament. We're up there with the best teams in the world, but we lack that cutting edge. We're too nice. We're too, we've put up a good fight. Let's go and win the fight. You know, let's put in some belief into the players. The players look like, we've had a good performance, we've done well, we've come home, we've done really well. Just haven't got that edge to get us over the line, whether that's the manager, whether that's the staff. That's got to come from somewhere. But it's just, we've done well. We were unlucky against France. Let's go and beat France. We've done that in the Euros. We've done that in the last World Cup, in the last Euros. We've done it again. Yes, we've lost to a very, very good French team who potentially could be the winners of this tournament by a missed penalty. Fine margins. Yeah. But when are we going to take it over the line? When are we going to have that, we're not coming just to do well. We're coming to win this tournament.
We found out today the FA are going to sit down with Gareth Southgate in early January and discuss Gareth's future. How do you read this situation?
Frustrating. I mean, he's got 2 years left on his contract. We shouldn't be talking about that. I think Gareth is the right man to lead England. I think there may need to be a reshuffle of his backroom staff, as in a new voice, some fresh ideas, whether that be somebody to help him with in-game substitutes, whether it's somebody who brings that cutting edge, that get the team going from the start rather than taking a while to warm up like in the French game. Just somebody with a winning mentality. But I think what Gareth's done with the team, where he's put the team, he's done an excellent job. But we haven't got it over the line. I don't think there should be a conversation about his future. He signed a new contract. He's got another 2 years on his deal.
There is going to be a conversation now.
The idea was that he takes this England team to the Euros, and they signed the contract well before this World Cup. Regardless of what happens in this World Cup, he's contracted. So at the moment, the FA aren't in a good position because there is no Englishman out there that I see that would be a good fit. Eddie Howe's tied up in a job at Newcastle. I could think of many million reasons a year he's not going to leave that, as well as
he's doing a cracking job.
As well as the fact that they're challenging for the top four. Graham Potter's the other one at Chelsea, who's just got a job that he wants in the Champions League.
His stock's gone down a bit.
So you're looking at English managers, ideally, not many out there. Then you're looking into the foreign managers that are available. I'm a strong believer it should be an Englishman if there's one available. If there isn't, then you get the best person for the job, whoever that may be. And I think it's just frustrating that there's so much scepticism surrounding his future. If the FA want him to stay, he's under contract. Unless he turns around and says he's wanting to leave, then do that, after the tournament, or rather than this whole, I don't know what I'm doing. He's contracted to take this England team to the Euros.
Final question. Do you think a few of the lads have probably texted him? Come on, stay on. Because the likes of Bellingham and Saka and whatever, they're all young, aren't they?
I think the only thing you can read into it is if you believe reports that after the tournament, the manager gave these younger players who played bit part in the tournament, players that didn't play, the likes of Conor Gallagher, Maddison, Nick Pope, Aaron Ramsdale, he gave them belief and confidence that they've got a future with this England side and that they would be around for the next however long he was there. So that the messages that, if you believe, are coming out of the camp that he was given to players was of one positivity, that he would still be around. If he hasn't got the hunger and desire to do it, to pick the baton up and do it, because tournaments take out a lot of you, physically and mentally, they're very draining, which is why I suspect such a big thing has been made about he wants a bit of time after a tournament to decide. Maybe take a bit of time, but don't come out publicly and do that. Just say, no, I'm the England manager, I've got a contract, I'm carrying on. And then take your own time privately. But we've got 3 to 4 months, I think it is, till the next international.
March, Italy.
Yeah, so
Euro qualifier.
There is time.
Well, you live near him. Pop round and go and tell him.
Go and find out what he's thinking.
Yeah,
I'll report back Sunday.
Right then, thanks very much for your help this World Cup. Really, really enjoyed it. So just recap, you think it's going to be the French to win a third World Cup?
Very tight, under 2.5 goals, draw at half-time, and I fancy the French to nick it, but I would love Messi to win it.
It'll be the first team to retain a trophy since Brazil in 1962. Right, thanks for watching. Just a couple of our headline offers. We had Top Price France to win in 90 minutes with Top Price France. And we've been doing this throughout the World Cup with Double Delight and Hat-Trick Heaven and all first goal scorer bets. So, for example, if Mbappe scored first at 4-1 and then scored again, you get paid out 8-1. If Mbappe scored first and got a hat-trick, well, France would win the World Cup. He'd win the Golden Boot and you get paid out at 12-1. Thanks for watching, and just remember, if you're having a bet on the third and fourth playoff of the final, keep it fun and gamble responsibly. I hope you've enjoyed the World Cup as much as we have. See you soon.